Are Sean Payton and Russell Wilson an odd fit together? What do I mean by that? First of all, being an odd fit doesn't automatically mean you're going to fail, because you look at Bruce Arians and Tom Brady. Bruce Arians and Tom Brady were an odd fit, but they collaborated together. They made it work. And it seemed like the roster was just so talented that as long as those guys were kind of on the same page, you felt Tampa Bay was going to win football games and eventually get to and win a Super Bowl if things bounced their way. And boom, it happened, okay? So there are exceptions to the rule as far as, personalities not quite fitting together. But everyone talked about Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos, and they said Sean Payton is going to fix Russell Wilson. First of all, so far that has not happened through the first couple of games. And you have to realize this. Sean Payton is supposed to be the CEO of the football team. When you're a head coach, you're responsible for all 53 men on that roster, not just the quarterback. And I think everyone focused on, okay, what could Sean Payton get out of Russell Wilson? Is Russell Wilson going to get back on track? Are we going to fix Russell Wilson? When the reality is, people should have been asking the question, can Sean Payton fix the Denver Broncos altogether? You look at the offensive line. It seems like the offensive line has a lot of holes, has some major questions. You look at, the depth at wide receiver. The Denver Broncos have suffered some major injuries at wide receiver, and it seems like they don't have much to work with. As much as we hype up the roster, it doesn't seem like the depth at wide receiver is all that great. You look at Sean Payton and this team. You're losing by 50 points to a Miami Dolphins team. Again, there's not just one glaring issue. There's multiple things here. Top to bottom, this entire roster needs to be examined. And you look at Sean Payton, and you say, can he be the true CEO of this football team? That was a knock on him in New Orleans, where they put up a bunch of points, but he never could seem to really figure out the defense. Defense isn't really a specialty. It seems like the Saints at times were a little bit undisciplined. They won a Super Bowl with Sean Payton. God bless them. They won a lot of games, but there were some years where it seemed like, man, every single year the Saints seem like they're going 7-9, and they've got good players and a Hall of Fame quarterback in Drew Brees. What's going on? So have we overrated Sean Payton a little bit? I think we should ask that question a little bit. But here's the thing, people. Sean Payton is intense. He calls his players out. And losing football games really riles the guy up. And rightfully so. I don't like to lose. I'm sure you people out there don't like to lose. I'm sure Broncos country is just fed up at this point. But everyone has different personalities. Russell Wilson is one of those guys where his personality is not like Sean Payton's. Russell Wilson is naturally a calm human being. He's optimistic. He's always looking for the positives. Russell Wilson is the ultimate competitor. He's a gamer, at least going back to the Seattle Seahawks days and back when he was in college. Maybe he's lost a little bit of that juice, but the point is, obviously Russell Wilson doesn't like to lose football games, but Russell Wilson is the type of quarterback to come to the podium after a tough loss and say, hey man, we gave it our all. We thought we had a good week of practice, but I really liked what we built on this week. I think that we can really, build on this for next week. We'll get this team next week and things like that. Sean Payton is not that guy. He's going to come to the podium, and if he loses and gets embarrassed, he's going to be pissed off, people. And if you're not perfect, then Sean Payton is going to make life very tough for you. And I think that that's kind of what we're seeing in Denver, where they had not gotten off to a great start. The first two games of the season, you have a game that you could have won versus the Raiders. It got away from you. You had a game versus the Commanders where you had a huge lead. It got away from you. And then you sparkle into this week where we're saying, okay, you're 0-2. If you're falling 0-3, your season might be over. And boom, out of nowhere, the Broncos just implode. And I think that has to take on some responsibility of the head coach and the quarterback, where they're not in sync, and it seems like the Broncos are trying to take on the personality that is Sean Payton, because Russell Wilson, it seems like the locker room has kind of lost faith in him based on what he did last year and based on the fact that we haven't seen a drastic improvement, and in the end, the Broncos are not winning games. Winning cures all. In Denver, they're not winning games. And last but not least, stylistically, when we look at Drew Brees and Russell Wilson, okay, Sean Payton's, old quarterback Drew Brees, who's going to make the Hall of Fame, Super Bowl champion. Meanwhile, Russell Wilson, potential Hall of Fame level quarterback, won a Super Bowl, had a lot of success in Seattle, but over the past couple of years has been on the decline. Let's look at them stylistically. Drew Brees lived on the quick passing game. He won with timing, and he targeted the middle of the field a lot. Russell Wilson, his brand of football is running around, throwing the deep ball, and attacking outside the numbers mostly. Russell Wilson is not this quarterback that lives over the middle of the field. He will attack the middle of the field if he needs to, but that's stylistically not his game. And when we look at Drew Brees and Russell Wilson, they're two totally different quarterbacks. So is this stylistically working? I'm not so sure. So that's really how I'm going to wrap things up with this. Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, it just seems like it's an odd fit, and I don't think that this is going to be solved anytime soon. I'm bailing on the Denver Broncos. I was optimistic last year, and that was a mistake. And this year, I did not buy into the hype. I thought they'd be improved, but it just seems like they're never going to take that great leap forward that you thought they would be taking when they signed Russell Wilson, or I should say acquired him from Seattle. And as I said a couple of weeks ago, and even last year, it looks like Seattle is getting an all-time heist in this trade because they have stability at quarterback already with Geno Smith. They've got a lot of good young players, and it seems like Seattle is set up for the future regardless if they win a Super Bowl this year or not. Meanwhile, Denver, they packaged all of their assets to try to win a Super Bowl right here, right now, and it just hasn't quite worked. And when that happens, sometimes you have to blow things up.